I'm Paula, and I teach at Grace Art Camp, one of my favorite places. Today, we're going to be doing found object printing. What we're going to do is look around us for different things that we can put paint on and then print on paper. Let's have a little look-see. What can we use? Old cardboard, corks, used spools of thread, leaves, feathers. Here's a Q-tip, old puzzle pieces. This is a stove coil. We're going to show you all of these things. But first, let's talk about what you need. The first thing you need is a piece of paper to print on. You can use brown paper. You can use green paper. Anything you like. It's fun to use stationery. Sometimes, in fact, I go fish things out of the recycle bin if it doesn't print really well, and I can use that. What do we need after that? We need different colors of paint. You need something to put your paint on. These are old meat trays and I use them over and over, but you could use a paper plate, you could use a piece of foil, you could use a piece of wax paper. Lot of options. I usually put paint on my objects with a brush, but if you don't have a brush, you can just use a sponge. And then you need objects. This is one of the objects I showed you, and I'm going to start with this one because it fits easily in my hand and it's easy to get the paint onto it. How am I going to get the paint onto this spool of thread? Well, I could dip the spool into the paint, but that would just put a whole bunch on there. It would be really gloppy. I prefer to use the brush. I pick up the paint on my brush, not too much, and then I tap it, tap onto the spool, and then, ooh, that's pretty fun. And then what happens if I want to do it again, but I want a different color? What happens if I want, I could have green. I have green back here. Well, I don't have to get a new brush. I can use the other side. Now I have green on the other side, and I'm just gonna mix them. I don't wanna have to wash my objects every time. What if I wanted to do half blue and half green? We could have fun with this. Oh, a mix. Oh, I like the mix. Let's look at this piece of wood with rubber bands on it. I'll start with green. And again, I'm just gonna put the green paint on the block and press it down. If I wanted to make it in yellow, now that I've got green, I would probably have to wash it or use the other side. Kind of fun. Here's a different spool. Let's see what happens when we use this one. Nice. Let's add color with the cork. I have a circle thing going, don't I? What if I wanted to add a polka dot? Here's a Q-tip. They're really great at making beautiful dots. Let's use one of these pool noodles. I'm gonna put this one here, but I want it to go off the paper. Take one of these scrap papers and put it underneath the corner and not mess up my table. Here's another favorite, some bubble wrap. Ooh, I could mix some green in with that. That would be fun. Let's see what we get. Here's a different size of bubble wrap. Here's a little jar cap. When I'm working on a piece, I try to use different items that give you some very small patterning, some medium patterning, up to some really big ones. It just makes it more fun. I think it's done when you think it's done. Now let's try printing with some objects found in nature. These rose leaves ought to do really nicely. I'm going to put them in a tray, and I'm going to put paint on the back of the leaf. You can see that's the front of the leaf. This side has a lot more texture. You can use mixed colors on your brush if you want to add something interesting. I like to make sure I get the paint all the way to the edge of the leaf, because leaf edges are often very interesting. All right, I have paint on my leaves, and I'm going to put this face down on the paper, and I want to make sure that I get the whole leaf down without moving it. And then I can use my fingers to flatten it, or I can take another piece of scratch paper, put it on top. That way, I get a little less paint on my hands. Oh, that turned out really nicely. How about if we put one of these beautiful leaves on this stationery? I think it's probably going to go off of this small piece, so I'm going to place that on a piece of scrap paper. And then take, once again, my scrap paper and press it down. Make sure we get the whole leaf flat. Oh, I like that. So let's do our feather. I think we'll have a blue feather. Once again, we're just going to tap the paint on. I'm going to put the paint side down as usual. You're going to need, again, your piece of scrap paper to press it down. It's very difficult to do it with your hand without making a mess. Okay, that's our first pull. But now look at the feather. Isn't it more interesting when the pieces of the feather have opened like this? And then when you put paint on it, you get a more detailed print. Take our scrap paper. Oh, that's pretty nice, actually. Let's see what happens when we put paint on this. I'm gonna try and make sure I get paint all over my design so that I get a nice big imprint. And press harder in the center. Maybe we should add some more shapes to it. Maybe we should try the toe separator. Those are fun to print with. Looks like a bridge. We can use this to make a pattern though. What if I put it back to back? We need more color. I think we'll use the stove coil. It takes a lot of paint, but it really makes a nice impact. You know, when you start doing this kind of printing, you see every object in a different light. You're looking at everything you find and wondering, if I put paint on that, how would that look? Could I print with that? I think it needs more orange. There's more orange. Whoa, I like it. This is a sample of rubber matting, and it's great for printing. You know, we only do this because it's fun. So let's add some really cool patterning on top of both of these. Ready? And there you are. Let's throw the kitchen sink on this piece. Here I am putting paint on my rubber bands around my cardboard tube. And you know, you can't wash this cardboard tube, so that's why it gets all these great colors all over it. And just roll it right across the paper, and you get lines that are mixing all the colors of the paints that have been used on here every time. This is making a very nice background. How about this fun piece of sponge? How about we use the big pool noodle? Let's change that color a little bit. I'm adding some blue. That's fun. I don't always add more paint to the object. Each print will be different depending on whether you add more paint or let it just get less and less and less present in your work. Q-tip for polka dots. I think it needs some delicate touch here. This is a toothbrush. bigger polka dots. Yeah, that looks lovely. I'm putting paint on my golf ball. Shall we change the color a little bit? Here we go. You can do this with marbles also, but the golf ball has texture on the outside, so it makes a very interesting line. Pretty fun. And the thing is, you can have a wonderful time and make things that are fun to play with.
Thank you for being a part of Grace Art Camp.